And I'm going to be telling you about my final writing project, which, as we all know, we have to pick a problem and then a solution to it. My problem was actually how to converge our medias that we have at the university, at Burnell University, which include radio, television, and the newspaper. Because a recent survey that we did showed that not many people knew that there was even a television station or a newspaper. The television station was recently canceled and turned into a YouTube channel, which, it's just not a good idea. It's not good. But for now, it'll work. At least we still have it. So my idea was to come up with a show, because we don't really have shows, and the shows we do have don't really include the rest of the media. So my idea was to come up with a show that could be broadcast on television and radio, and it would use stories derived from the newspaper. That way, all three of the medias would be working on this program. So all three of them would be included. One of the advantages that I found was that it could, the public had the choice of either listening or watching. They could be driving home or work or whatever, and they could listen to it on the radio. Also, if they were if they were at home or in their dorms, just goofing around, they could tune into the YouTube channel. So they would have a choice. That way they wouldn't have to worry about missing a show because they had to go out somewhere or something. Another advantage is that each media would be advertised in the program itself. For example, every time a story would end, the anchor would be like, if for more information, log on to our newspaper website and read the story. And then we also had, the listeners would be constantly be reminded, don't worry, if you're arrived home, you could always log on to our YouTube channel, or if you have to leave, you can turn your radio to 89.1 and stuff like that. So the audience would constantly be fed these advertisements, even though they're not really deliberate, I guess. Also, another advantage I found was that the show could set the foundation for the three medias to start working together. Because as we know, well, at least the Department of Mass Communication knows that they're not really working together. A newspaper's doing its own thing, television's doing its own thing, and radio's doing its own thing. So it's kind of crucial that we group these together, make them work, and this show would be perfect because you need the newspaper reporters to give us information on events. You need the TV crew to film, to get it out on TV, and then to get audio for radio, because you're not going to be going around with an audio recorder everywhere you go, when you can just have a camera, and then you kill two birds with one stone. So, the other thing is that it will give a higher popularity with the student body, because as more people actually start watching the show, which is our goal, more word of mouth goes on, and friends tell their friends and family, and people will start listening. So that's another good thing. And then finally, the fifth advantage I found is that the stories that the students get would be viewed by a bigger audience. It wouldn't just be limited to the radio station or the TV people, or just the news stories. There aren't just the people who actually read the newspaper. You would actually get a full thing of people would actually watch, listen, or read. It's not just limited to one thing. Okay, and then the 5 limitations that I found were: how likely is it that the newspaper staff will be able to coordinate with the television people to go out and actually get footage of, Burnout events, features that we're doing. How likely is it that we can actually get these two people to work together? It's gonna be kind of hard because not everybody is on the sets. Not everybody is on the same schedule. Some journalism classes are at one time, broadcasting classes are another time. They don't really coincide, but if we work around that, we'll be fine. Also, another limitation is how the format of the show could fit both television and radio, because even though they're very similar, you have audio, video, whatever. Video concentrates more on picture, so they rely heavily on the emotion they catch, the action shots, ambient noise, so people get the feel of the story, while radio is based on word, and it's at a much faster pace. So we would have to make that format kind of to compromise. And we would sacrifice some of the radio elements and sacrifice some of the television elements, which could be good or could be bad, but we have to make it work. So another limitation we found is how can the motivation of the student be increased? Because the main problem that we've been facing, is that many students don't go out and write a news story for the newspaper, or they don't have the initiative to actually grab a camera and go out and shoot an event. They would actually have to contact me because I'm the station manager for television, and then I would work something out with them to go. But for the most part, the student body doesn't take the initiative. So we would have to fix that in order to make it work, because if they're not motivated and they're not going to do it, it doesn't matter how hard we try, it's not going to work. The next thing is how we can advertise the show if the audience is not listening or watching or reading. Because if we do a PSA, which is a public service announcement for the radio, the audience base would only be limited to the people who actually listen to the radio, which would be about 50% of the student body, if we're lucky. So we would have to work around that as well. And then the last one is how willing is the audience going to want to go on to 3 different websites? Because the radio has its own website, television has its own website, and newspaper has its own website. They don't really have one set website, so we'd have to work around that. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you how I would overcome that limitation, because that's one of the main factors. I actually decided that we could have one website. The ideal website would actually be one that has a direct link to the newspaper. Like, you just click on it and the PDF of the newspaper comes up. It doesn't take you to another link, to another website, and it's just the PDF right there. Just click it. And then also the latest episodes that are on the YouTube channel embedded. Right now we only have one show, which would be Burnout University Network News. That would be right there on the home page. Of course, if you have more than one, you would have to start filing them. But it could work. And then just have a direct streaming thing for WBCX on the corner. All the listener would have to do is just click, and you're streaming radio. So that would take care of that. The other one would be the advertisement. The advertisement issue. Without an audience, even if we do the show and it goes smoothly, it wouldn't really have the effect we want. So we want that to go forth. So we would get the 4th member of our mass comm department practicums, which is public relations. Their specialty is in advertising, organizing, and planning. So we would rely heavily on them, getting posters out there, flyers out in the town square, banners and Brunel events, just spreading the word. The unique qualities that this idea would have is the immediate involvement of all three medias, which I already explained. In order for it to work, all three medias have to work together. We would also have to learn to coordinate with the three people. We would have to coordinate. Newspaper would have to coordinate with TV. TV would have to coordinate with radio. Radio needs audio, contact TV. You need a story, contact newspaper. It kind of works that way. It can lead to moving forward in Brunel University. If this actually takes off, we can keep building on to it, to the point where we can bring back print newspaper. We can bring back the cable station. The more people that are actually reading and watching demand, we can bring it back, which is honestly our goal. And then finally, and probably the most important thing, is that it prepares the student for the future, because nowadays bosses want what is called the multi-skilled journalist. They don't just want somebody who can write or somebody who can look good in TV. They don't just want somebody who can sound good on radio. They want somebody who's upbeat. They can come out on camera. They can work a camera. They can come out on radio. They can write. They want somebody who multitasks. And this is the perfect time for the students to prepare. And that's pretty much it. My conclusion is, even though there's challenges and they seem kind of impossible, the whole motivation thing, as soon as it starts picking up speed, the student body is going to be more and more motivated to do it. So even though there's challenges, obviously the rewards, the advantages, and the qualities actually outweigh. So if we can do that, the key actions that we need to be taken are to advertise, coordinate all three medias, and assign tasks to the student station managers, because pretty much they're going to be running the whole thing. So that's going to be the action plan for now. So thank you for listening, and hopefully this plan will work.